And what give you the confidence that you're going to read all of these books, Michaela? Delusion. Hello my gorgeous people, my name is Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things books. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my delusional plans that I'm going to read all of these books in April. Do you know what though? I'm confident. It's not even delusional. I'm confident I'm going to read all of these books. So let me tell you about them. Just quickly before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you for taking the time to click on this video. It means so much to me. Please hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more. And let's just get straight into it. Just before we start though, I just want to touch on the 2 books from my March TBRs video, which I will link up above, that I didn't get around to reading. And that is All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers and My Other Husband by Dorothy Koomson. But the fact that I only didn't read 2 books from that video, like, that's what's given me the confidence in this massive stack. I think I had like 14 books on my TBR, so I think I did quite good. If you want to know a bit more about these 2 books, go and watch March TBR's video. The first book on this list is Grey After Dark by Noel W. Ihli, and this will be my first book from this author, and we're reading it for my in-person book club, and we're also reading it for my online book club, which is linked in the description. It's completely free to join. Feel free to come over. This book follows a girl called Miley who was on track to become an Olympic superstar, but sadly she got involved in an accident, so all her dreams are crushed. She's now had to get a summer job in this like log cabin mountain retreat type place. But this retreat is surrounded by rumours because a staff member died there years ago and nobody's really sure what happened to her. There's a lot of rumours surrounding it. And then one day Miley decides she's going to go on a morning run before she starts her shift, and she gets kidnapped. She gets abducted, and I believe we're then going to be following her as she's trying to save herself, I'm assuming. Like I said, this is going to be my first book by this author, but I've had her on my radar for such a long time. There's so many of her books which sound so good, so I'm so excited to read this. I think that Noel Ihli is now being picked up by a traditional publisher because all of her books were on Kindle Unlimited. However, they've been pulled off. They're not on Kindle Unlimited anymore, and they're down as Macmillan as the publisher. So I think they're being traditionally published, and I'm pretty sure she's got a new one coming out in like the next month or 2. So that's really exciting. I'm really hoping I'm going to enjoy this. All of my friends have been reading Jennifer Hillier's The Butcher in March, and I've got FOMO. Everyone has been saying how much they have enjoyed this book. So I mean, I'm taking that as my sign to read it. So this book follows a police detective who has just retired. He's just gone into retirement, but he is notorious because 30 years ago, he caught one of like the most prolific serial killers of like his time, who went by the Butcher. So like he's renowned because he was the police officer that caught this guy. He's now got an adult grandson whose girlfriend's mum was suspected to be a victim of the Butcher. And now she's writing a true crime story all about it, and like things are gonna start coming out. So I think it's also gonna have that like book within a book trope that I absolutely love. I'm a massive fan of Jennifer Hillier anyway, so I actually can't believe it's taken me this long to pick this up. Jar of Hearts and Little Secrets were both 5-star reads for me, and I'm hoping this is gonna be a 5-star. I may read it in a vlog that I'm doing that's going to be coming up very soon. It's a vlog I've never done before either, and I'm honestly so excited about it. So little teaser of what's to come. We were actually speaking about this at our last book club meeting as a couple of the people from book club were reading it, and we were saying like Jennifer Hillier actually hasn't come out with a book in such a long time. I think this even came out like 10 years ago. So I wonder if like she is going to be coming out with anything new soon. Do you know anything? Liz Nugent is cementing herself as like one of my favourite authors. I've nearly read her backlist. I've got Unraveling Oliver to read, and I've also got, I think it's Our Little Cruelties. So we're going to go with Unraveling Oliver in April. I mean, look how short it is. I actually didn't realise it was so short, to be honest. And like, nobody writes first lines of a book like Liz Nugent. Let me tell you what the first line of this book is. I expected more of a reaction the first time I hit her. Who's hitting who? So the book follows a couple called Alice and Oliver, and I'm assuming Oliver's hit Alice because the blurb says that Oliver hits Alice and she's now in a coma. But it came out of the blue. Nobody was expecting it. Everybody thought they had like this perfect relationship. So like, what led him to do that to her? And the blurb says that as everyone tries to make sense of his astonished act of savagery, Oliver tells his story. So do those whose paths he crossed over the last 5 decades. That sounds juicy. That sounds like I'm going to get juicy gossip. sign me up. Do you know, I actually didn't realise how much I say juicy gossip. Like, clearly I am just a gossip queen. Like, I love it. If you've not read any books by Liz Nugent yet, this is your sign to pick up her books. If you're a character-driven reader, I swear, nobody writes characters in thriller books like Liz Nugent. Like, her character development and how well you get to know the characters, who are not always very nice people, is just on another level. Leah Toole, who is the author of 1500, is an indie author who I have followed on TikTok for the longest time. She is so knowledgeable when it comes to like anything to do with history. And she's typically written in the historical genre. However, her newest release, 1500, is a historical thriller. And I'm in my historical thriller era. I can't explain how much I'm loving like historical thrillers in general. Like historical fiction. And that was something that like I've only just realised that I absolutely love. So I'm so excited to read this. This follows 5 people who are all from worlds apart, and they all find themselves in the same place at the same time, but how did they get there and who's hiding something? This is also on Kindle Unlimited, and like I said, it's an indie author. It's only 200 pages, so I will report back with my review on this. I'm really excited, and Leah, who wrote the book, is honestly just so lovely. She sent me this copy and she even signed it, which, love, thank you so much. I pre-ordered this book, The Fellowship of Puzzlemakers by Samuel Burr, because when it came out in hardback, the cover was stunning. I was obsessed, but I was like, I'll wait until it comes out in paperback, so I pre-ordered it. I thought it was a thriller. I don't think it's a thriller, because it says, truly heartwarming, hugely uplifting, utterly beautiful, bursting with hope on the cover. It's not giving thriller, that's not, is it? But I mean, that's fine. I'm trying to widen my genres anyway, so even still. But what drew me to this book is it contains puzzles. So all throughout, it literally has, like, I think I've seen a crossword in here somewhere. The question is am I going to be clever enough to solve these puzzles? Because I'm not great at solving puzzles, if I'm honest with you, but I will give it a good go. Like, solve the maze to reveal the message. What do you mean? Okay, right, I just read the blurb, and maybe it is given a little bit of thriller, because it follows a man who is now 25 years old, but when he was a baby, he was left on the doorstep of the Fellowship of Puzzlemakers, and like they took him in and they have raised him, and now the like head puzzler person has just passed away, and she said to our main guy, if you solve this puzzle, I'll tell you who your parents are. I hope I can like Google like the puzzle questions if I can't answer them, because otherwise it's going to take me the whole month to read this book. But I'm really excited. That just sounds so fun. The New Neighbours by Claire Douglas is actually out now. It came out in March. I'm reading it a bit late, I'm sorry, but Claire Douglas is like one of my favourite domestic thriller authors. Like, she writes like neighbourhood like drama like no one else. Juicy gossip. So this follows our main character Lena's son as he's come home from his school media project, and his school media project is on sound. So he's come home with this big fancy microphone and they're messing around with it, and they've just got new neighbours. New neighbours have just moved in next door. I'm holding this like this because the front doesn't say the name of the book, so that's why I'm holding it. I'll put the actual cover on the screen here for you so you can see what it is. But they then start messing about with this microphone, and the new neighbours that have just moved in next door, our main character hears something that they shouldn't have heard. They've heard them like planning something illegal, and now she's like, what do I do? It also says that the couple who've moved in are like in their 60s, so like they're not the sort of people that you would expect to be plotting a crime. So like, what does she do? Can she stop this crime from happening? And it just sounds so good. I have not seen anybody review this yet, actually. So that's good, because sometimes like it can cloud your judgment, you know. I've stopped trying to read reviews of books before I read them myself, because I feel like it'll just like, it clouds my judgment, and I'm like, oh no, it's got a really low rating, I'm gonna hate it, when we don't need to be thinking like that, you know. But then, do you know, if you do rate a book like really highly and you go on Goodreads and then you start reading the reviews and you're like, oh yeah, you've got a good point, should I be rating it that highly? It clouds your judgment. Don't listen to anyone else. That's what makes reading so fun though, right? That we have all got different opinions and we can all pull some different things from different books. It'd be boring if we all like the same. Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson was another pre-order that I did, and I mean, come on. That is unreal. Wow. I'm just so easily pleased. Like, having a book that floppy, like, it just makes, like, the reading experience so much better. Like, I mean, I'm not afraid to crack a spine, but still, like, I'd prefer not to, but the book will just stay open. Like, that's lovely. Really nice. I feel like these sort of things that, like, when I talk about them, I'm like, unless you're a bookish person, like, you would think I'm an absolute weirdo. But the girls that get it, the girls and boys that get it. So our main character, Poe, has a successful true crime podcast. I bloody love the podcast trope in a thriller. It's one of my favourite tropes. And on this podcast, she invites guests on to come on completely anonymous, and they can confess to their crimes. Juicy gossip. I'm going to stop with that now, I promise. But they can come on, and literally everybody loves listening to it because, yeah, like, getting to hear all of these things and, like, are these people telling the truth or are they lying? But Poe's mum was murdered. She was the victim of a murderer, and somebody comes on her podcast one day and says, like, I killed your mum. And she's thinking, no, you did not, because the person that killed my mum, I killed them. And doesn't that just sound so good? This book is huge though. God, it's 411 pages. 411 pages. I always get scared when I do that I'm gonna, like, see a spoiler. And I'm like, oh, no. Do it upside down. That's the trick. But anyway, there's 411 pages. Stuart Turton, The Last Murder at the End of the World. This is the hardback copy. However, it is now out in paperback. So if you don't like hardback books, have no fear. It's now out in paperback. This is a dystopian thriller. And something I love is dystopian. Like, I feel like I grew up reading dystopian thrillers, as I'm sure, not thrillers, dystopian, as I'm sure most of you did too. I loved The Hunger Games. I think that could be classed as dystopian. And also Divergent. Divergent is, like, one of my favourite movies and books of all time. I think I read them when I was a teenager and I absolutely loved them. Also, please look at the end pages. I think that, like, might be, like, a little, like, drawing of the ends of the world. And it also contains a character list. Come on, I bloody love a character list. So this book is set in a world where basically the world has ended. A fog descended over Earth and everyone that escaped could, and they escaped to this little island as their refuge. And I think there's 111 people who live on this island. Some of them are scientists and some of them are there, and they are basically trying to start life again. However, they live under curfew and they are under very strict regulations from the scientists who live on this island, when one day one of the scientists is murdered and all of their memories have been wiped. So they've all woke up the next day and one of the scientists is dead and none of them have got any memory of what happened. And they've got 107 hours to solve the murder. Otherwise, this fog is going to come over their island and kill them all. So I feel like it's going to be, like, quite a fast-paced, high-stakes book. I've heard such good things about it. One of my friends who I have very similar book taste to, she has been telling me to read this for the longest time because she's like, Michaela, I just know you're going to love it. So I'm going to have to love it. I've not read anything from this author before, but I think he is also the author of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And I think he does typically write, like, in the dystopian, like, kind of sci-fi genre, maybe not too heavy on the sci-fi. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this and then hopefully pick up more. We've got 2 cozy fantasies that I really want to get to this month. Cozy fantasy is like a new genre that I'm kind of obsessed with. So I've picked 2 up with the most stunning covers that I'm going to get to in April. And the first one is Slice of Murder by Rosie A. Point. If you've seen my last book haul, I featured this in that. And I said how much I love pizza. Pizza is my favourite food in the entire world. So as soon as I seen this with this cover, I was like, I don't care if I'm going to read it on my Kindle. I just need this cover in my life. This is also set in New York, which I absolutely love because I think when you think of pizza, you either think of, like, Italy or you think of New York. So it's set in a New York pizzeria where a girl has gone to work in her uncle's pizzeria, but it's on, like, the brink. It's about to go down, so she's there to save it. But then the chef ends up dead. And I just love cozy mystery. So somebody asked me, like, what makes something a cozy mystery? And I think it's when it's, like, quite low stakes. The settings are usually, like, quite cute. Pizzeria cute. I don't know if I describe it as that, but it's typically got quite a good setting and the stakes are quite low. they're not fast paced. I would say like they're medium paced, and I just have a really, really good time reading them. And I also think like, going into it that you're not going to take it as serious maybe as like the typical thriller books. And look how big the font is in this book, please. Like, I feel like that's like size 24 sans serif. And I'm definitely going to be eating pizza while I'm reading this, because why the hell not? And the next cozy mystery I want to read is Double Mocha Blues by Tyora Moody. And this is actually a podcast style cozy mystery, which is something I've not read before in cozy mysteries. So this follows our main character Joss, who works in a coffee shop. So like the setting of the last one was a pizzeria, the setting of this is a coffee shop, and I think that's what defines cozy mystery to me, when it's got that really, really good setting. And our main character Joss, despite working in this coffee shop, she also has her own true crime podcast. However, a few people aren't happy with this podcast, like locals to her, and they're protesting against it when one of the protesters ends up dead. So Joss is the number one suspect. I think this is also part of a series, which a lot of cozy mysteries also typically are too. So yeah, I hope that helps. Like I said, it's a completely new genre to me. I want to say maybe like the last 2 months, but it's a genre that I've absolutely just been loving. It's a nice break from reading like really dark thrillers. And then the last book on this month's TBR is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. And this is a cozy fantasy, which is something else, like another genre that I've really, really started to fall in love with lately. And I picked this up because it said it had a magical cat. That's all I needed to know. This says it's perfect for fans of Legends and Lattes and House in the Cerulean Sea. And House in the Cerulean Sea is one of my favourite books of all time. So that's instantly got me excited. So this follows the story of a fortune teller. This fortune teller is hired by the family of a girl that's gone missing. She's been hired to try and help them find the kid. And then it says soon they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure and of course a slightly magical cat. So like, is it going to be found family? The fact that they're comparing it to House in the Cerulean Sea tells me that maybe it's going to have found family vibes, and I just love that. And guys, you are not ready to see the naked hardback of this book. Like, I'm just going to leave it with the dust jacket off, I think. Oh my god. Isn't that the most stunning book you've ever seen in your life? And like the end papers also have like this really cute design. I think that might be tea. Like, yeah, love it, obsessed. A fun fact, I did not like cats until like 3 years ago. Like when I've always been a dog person, and then I got with my girlfriend Amy and she already had a cat, and I was like, not sure how I feel about that. But honestly, now I am a cat lover. Like, I cannot walk past a cat in the street without being like, pss, 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 pss. I mean, come on, look at that. Wow. You can stay there. So that's it. They're all the books that I'm planning on reading. They're all, like, there's not a lot there. They're the books I'm planning to read in April. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can come back at the end of April and see how well I actually did.